ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors. It is a game week, finally, once again, for East Carolina football. Pirates will take on the Temple Owls in Philly this weekend. We'll get into that and a whole lot more. We've got to recap another crazy weekend of sports. Of course, the Pirates were off from playing football, but a lot of things happening. Obviously, college football results, NFL results to go over, coaches getting fired, the latest being Brian Kelly. The coaching carousel is going to be absolutely insane. It already is, but once coaches start hopping ship, it's going to be even crazier. So we'll get into that, talk about some of the results in pro and college sports as well. The comments sections are open on YouTube, Facebook, and X. We already got a question from Lane Smith, which I'll address here in a second. And as always on these Monday free-for-all shows, in many ways, as we don't have a game to discuss, you guys can help guide the conversation. Talk about anything you want. We'll bring it up over the course of the next hour. We got Philip Pilkington behind the glass, intern Isaiah hanging out as well. Philip had a good and bad Sunday. He was in Charlotte for the Panthers game, which was bad, but also his guy, William Byron, won a huge race to put him in the Final Four of the playoff in NASCAR. So mixed feeling Sunday for you, Philip?
Oh, they were bad first. They ended high enough with him going to he had to win. He leads 300 laps, wins both stages, wins the race. I went to bed plenty happy. Trust me. I was ticked off. I originally said I was not going to get ticked off because the Bills were going to kick our butt anyways. I'm not going to lie. Right as halftime hit with that bull crap where they called our guy inbounds, but he was clearly out, where we didn't manage the clock correctly, where we huddled with a minute 20 to go and 3 timeouts. Just how bad we looked. I did have one little tantrum at halftime. I hit my seat pretty hard, hurt my hand.
Did you cuss out David Tepper?
Yeah, I did. And I said, I've been tired of this crap. I've been dealing with it for 8 years. And the Bills fan behind me gave me a hug, and he said, dude, we dealt with this for 14. I feel your pain. I promise it'll end one day. Bills fans were cool. That's what I will say. I mean, there were more Bills fans actually this week than there were Cowboy fans a few weeks ago. And they kind of overtook the stadium, but they were all really cool. They were nice. Yeah, man. But so that was tough. But yeah, when Willie B won the race, man, I didn't care. I'm going to championship 4. I don't have to worry about the Panthers next week. I can just watch him in Phoenix, and a big win for the 24 team. So here we go. Third time's gonna be a charm. He's been there each of the last 2 years. Finished third each of the last 2 years. It's time to win a championship, baby.
It is time to win a championship, and it is time to announce a new kickoff time for ECU football. As we got the Charlotte kickoff time, our buddy Lane Smith says, do we have any idea when the Charlotte game might be played? Got people coming to town that would love to know. Lane
I can't do a
Smith,
drum roll. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
let him know. It'll be a 3 o'clock kickoff on Saturday, November 8th on ESPN+. With this being an ESPN Plus game, East Carolina was able to pick the time, and 3 o'clock is what they chose, and I think this is an ideal start time because once you get into November, it starts getting cool at night. Mid-afternoon kick gives a lot of time for tailgating. It's homecoming. Should be a solid crowd. And we have the Charlotte at ECU game scheduled for 3 o'clock on November the 8th. So we got Temple at 2 on the road, Charlotte at 3 on Saturday the 8th. And this is a great thing, Lane. So let your people know. Let the tailgates, I guess that means the tailgating lots will open at 9 a.m. So I think this is a best-case scenario and makes a lot of sense for why the Pirates chose 3. I think you get in this time of year, Philip, 3, 3:30, 4 makes a lot of sense for all parties involved.
It does. The only weird thing is you're going to overlap a little bit with the basketball game that's scheduled at 6 o'clock. It is a road game, so I was kind of expecting us to go 2 o'clock here. That way the football game would be done and people would have time to get home and watch ECU basketball. Like I said, they're on the road at Richmond, but yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. But that sounds about right. We knew they weren't going to go real late, make it cold, but they obviously want to give people time to tailgate, and so, yeah, that means we'll go on air at noon, so not bad for us. We'll get to watch McAfee make his pick on our laptops, and then as soon as he does, we'll go on the air.
Kenny Curlin says the students can stay around a little longer with it being a 3 o'clock game.
Rivalry game, 3 o'clock. The bars are not open at 5:30.
Rivalry game? Are we going to give it that?
It's closest to what we got. Well, it's conversation for next week, but yeah.
By the way, saw some new helmets, or should I say old helmets, in the making for this game.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I think people are going to be very excited for the homecoming lids. I'll say that much. They're going to look sweet. So stay tuned for that. We'll let the team break that graphic news when it comes. But there's some new stuff on the way for homecoming against Charlotte. All right, some other comments here. We'll get into the Temple in a minute. I'm going to let Philip Pilkington guess the line. It came out Sunday. He has not seen it yet. We'll do that in a second. Kenny Curlin says, congratulations, Igo. My Cowboys are terrible. Yes, the Denver Broncos beat the Cowboys 44-24. And Jerry Vick says, love those Broncos jerseys on Sunday. Took me down memory lane. Wish they would become the permanent jerseys again. They are sick. I'll tell you what. I would love for them to be full-time. Although I kind of enjoyed the magic of when they break them out 2 or 3 times a year. So I'm very torn. I love the royal blue and the orange with the stripes, though. It looks sweet. And they're now 3-0 since bringing them back with like an average margin of victory of 20 points, which is what they won by on Sunday. Sorry to Isaiah, who is a Cowboys fan. They just have 0 defense. It is fun to watch Dak throw to Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And good to see Javonte Williams having a good year. But, yeah, with that defense, man, they just don't have much of a shot. And maybe Siobhan Revel can get back before the end of the year and have some hope for Dallas fans everywhere. All right, Aaron says, don't sound like Doran and not call it a rivalry. I mean, ECU and NC State have history in football. ECU and Charlotte have 0 history in football outside of the last 2 years. There's a difference. ECU and NC State have been playing since the 70s. And, like, there's actual tradition there. There's goalposts that have been torn down. There's been fights in the stands. I don't know if there's been any fights in the stands for ECU Charlotte.
They would have to have fans for us to fight.
This is true. But, look, they're 2-0 against ECU. I guess you could say ECU's got to win a game before it becomes a rivalry. And I've said it before. If ECU loses to Charlotte this year, I'm shutting it down. I'm shutting down Hoist the Colors.
What are you going to do? You do a job at Walmart or something?
Yeah, I'm just going to go. I might just move to Charlotte and start, mine the or go something with gold and mines. I don't know.
Do they even have a 247 Sports?
They don't.
No.
So
somebody's got to start one. Maybe Wags should move there and start one.
Wags he's already frustrated enough with his current place of employment. So, but he's making decent money, so he can't complain so much. I think. Look, Charlotte, and we're looking ahead here, but if Charlotte wins that game, I'm going to be very upset. I'll just say that. Aaron says agree. Our history is we lost 2 times. All right, so we'll see. We'll talk about Charlotte next week. All I'm saying is good helmets on the way. Let's talk about Temple now, because this is a big game, and I just realized I'm wearing a Temple shirt.
I was about to say, yeah, I was about to point that out, dude. Maybe that's you're pulling for Bobby's Commanders tonight, and you're wearing the burgundy to pull for his Commanders against the Chiefs because you hate the Chiefs. That is why I guess wearing the shirt.
I just realized I committed a major foul. And this could be bad news because when I went to Tulane, I also wore a Tulane-colored shirt the day I traveled, and Tulane ended up winning. So this could be a bad omen. Either way, this is a huge game. This is quietly a huge game in the conference. Temple 3-1 in the league. Now, look, their schedule has been favorable, but if anybody watched the Navy-Temple game, which I did for some reason, Temple should have won that game. They gave it away, really outplayed Navy, lost 32-31. They should be 6-2, 4-0, quite honestly. Now, you look at their wins, though, outside of that game, which did end in a loss to Navy, but the other games they have won, Tulsa, obviously 2 wins. ECU, very familiar with them. They won 38-37 in overtime. Tulsa goes for 2. I guess I'm just a Temple sicko because I was also watching this game live. Tulsa goes.
You could have made the money. That could have hit our over.
I know. I was really pulling for it. Tulsa goes for 2 in OT. They hand the ball to the tight end, and they were going to do the little pop pass. The problem is it was raining, and he couldn't really get it out of his glove. So the guy was open initially, and they couldn't complete it. Temple wins on the road, and they have now gotten one win away from bowl eligibility. KC Killer doing a heck of a job there. They beat Charlotte 49-14. We've talked about how bad Charlotte is. Again, should have beaten Navy. Their big win at this point is UTSA, 27-21. That was a huge win at the time. UTSA is still a bad road team, but a solid team as far as talent. They played Georgia Tech. They lost 45-24. Georgia Tech's unbeaten, and they lost to Oklahoma at home 42-3. So their 3 losses are to teams with a combined 1 loss. So they've lost to the good teams, and they've beaten the bad teams is really what it's come down to. And I think we find out more about both teams, but really a lot about Temple this weekend. So I say all that to say the line, which I think is set at the right place. Philip has not seen it yet because he was busy yesterday. So what do you think the line is? Guess the line, Philip, for Temple ECU. Let's see how good
Vegas might do
good you
some
are in
weird
Vegas.
stuff here and favor them. But I do think East Carolina's favored. Am I right in that at least?
You are right.
By 3.5.
Ooh, you're pretty good at this. Pirates are favored by 4.5 points.
Dang. One
Well
off.
done.
I'll take it.
And that was as of this morning, so maybe the line shifted. But I think it opened at 4.5, and it's basically sat there, to my knowledge. And I think this is right. Now, a lot of people were saying, why is ECU favored here? Temple's got the better record, all that sort of stuff. Well, I just mentioned the opponents. Also, you look at pretty much any power rating, things that take into account strength of opponent, per play basis. I've referenced ESPN's Football Power Index a lot. ESPN FPI has ECU ranked as the 57th best team nationally. Temple is ranked the 89th best team nationally. They actually went down 4 spots because of almost losing to Tulsa, who's ranked, in the 100s somewhere, I believe, or in the 90s. So I think ECU is the better team. They're favored. I think this is the right line. The thing that worries me about this game is Temple does not beat itself. Temple has turned the ball over 1 time this season. Their quarterback, Evan Simon, has 21 touchdowns against 0 interceptions. He threw 3 interceptions in the ECU game last year. And basically since then, apparently he's turned into a flawless quarterback. And now they do run the ball well. They set up a lot of things with play-action pass. Their tight end is really good, which also scares me because we saw what Tulsa's tight end did to ECU. But I think overall ECU's got more talent. It's just, can they go out there and play a clean game? But I think the line's at the right spot. I think if ECU plays to its potential, they win this game by a touchdown. It's just, how often have they done that this year? Not a lot.
Against Tulsa, I would say was our most complete game. Probably.
I think so, especially offensively.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That is one thing. They have not beat themselves. That's kind of what worries me. Like, we are better, straight up, but I don't know, man.
This is the game ECU's got to find a way to win. We were talking about this pre-show, and I think if you win this game, you're going to be favored by like 20-plus points over Charlotte. At that point, you're likely nothing's ever official. We've seen college sports. It's crazy. You're likely looking at 6-3 and hosting Memphis with a chance to really announce yourself as a title contender. If you lose this game, your chances of making the title are basically gone. You'd be losing, and Blake Harrell's a first-year coach as well, but you're losing to a brand-new first-year coach who had to overhaul the entire roster. It just wouldn't be a good loss. But I'm not saying Temple's not a good team because they definitely are. I've watched them. They're very solid, and again, they don't beat themselves. So it's going to be a tough game, but to me, this is just a game you got to find a way to go win on the road, and it's not going to be easy, but ECU has been unable to do that this year to this point. They lost at Tulane in a tough road game. They lost at NC State in a game, looking back at it, that they should have won. So you just got to find a way to win. I know that, spoiler alert, you may not be feeling it this week. And maybe I'm not either with this red shirt. I don't know. I'm getting it out of the way early, though, so I don't travel to Philly with it.
Like I said, I tried to throw you a bone there and let you explain why you're wearing the red shirt, and then you just ignored me trying to help you out.
It was a good try, but I don't know. I think people just have the heebie-jeebies over Temple because of what's happened at the stadium before. But ECU has won 5 in a row over Temple now. I think the Temple curse is done, and I think the Pirates are going to go to Philly, and I think they're going to play well. This is around the time last year Blake Harrell took over. They got into a groove. I got a better sense of the offense finding a groove. And the other thing, too, Temple defensively is gettable. I do think their offense is good. Kenny says, what's their weakness on defense? They have not stopped the run very well, Kenny. They actually are pretty good against the pass, especially getting after the passer. But you can run the ball on them. So, it's one of those things. I just think this is probably going to be a higher scoring game. The weather looks pretty solid for it being Temple in Philly on November 1. But I know a lot of people are worried about this game. I'm feeling okay about it. I think the Pirates found a way to win. And I think just talking to the players today, we just had our Blake Carroll press conference. We talked to Keelan Robinson, receiver. We talked to Raheem Craig. Both of them talked about November to remember. You got 5 games in November. It's kind of all been building towards this stretch, Phillip. So for me, it's like it's push up or shut up time, man. I mean, let's just go play some good football. And I think it starts. November 1st.
Hey, man, new month. And, the 16 days off, it's just going to be interesting. I think you're going to know halfway through the first quarter kind of how this one's going to go. I think if they come out slow like they did against Tulane, they could be in some trouble.
Yeah.
But if they come out, sometimes teams just look fresh when they come off a bye, man. They're just flying around. And if they look like that, I think it's a long day for the Owls.
Jerry says, is it just me, but it seems like we always play Temple in Philly in November. I remember an October game in the Scotty Montgomery era in, obviously, October, but I want to say you're just about right. Let me look at the series history here.
2018, maybe?
Yeah, 2018. I think 2018 was October. 2016, I know it was in November because I remember being up there for Thanksgiving and it sucked. All right, Temple, I got it here. Philly. Oh, man, it doesn't have the date here. Come on now. All right, here we go. So Philly, November 26th and 22, so that's obviously November. November 21st in 2020. October 6th in 2018, that was Scotty Moe's last year. November 26th in 2016, November 1st in 2014. And so 5 of your 6 trips to Philly since entering the American, 4 of your 5, I should say, are in November. The other one in October. So there is your answer to that, Jerry. All right, we got some more comments here. Colin says, Steven just jinxed us on the curse. Jinxes aren't a real thing, Colin, but I appreciate your comment.
Unless it's with kickers.
This is true. Baseball may be bad as well, but I don't know. For football, I don't know if I'm
when somebody tweets out there's about to be a perfect game thrown, I think that's a jinx. You want to talk about that, Steven?
What?
Was it a no-hitter? Remember when Gavin was about to...
Oh, yeah, and I tweeted about it, and people got mad at me.
Yep.
Because what I tweet affects Gavin Williams in the moment. That 100%.
It does, man. Somebody yelled out to him in the game, Steven Igo tweeted you're about to throw a no-no. He's like, oh, crap, I am. And
let me give up this hit real quick, or give up this bomb to Juan Soto. If Engelman has a good game, Aaron says, and is our main running back, we will win. So T.J. Engelman, if he is the guy. I don't know, London Montgomery looked pretty good against Tulsa. I think you're going to see a lot of London and Engelman with Marlon mixed in, according to JDB last week. So, all right, we got a lot of comments here. Keep them coming. We need to get a break in as well before we go too long. On the other side, we'll talk about just the craziness of the coaching carousel and maybe how it'll affect the American and ECU as well in the grand scheme of things, just because there's so many jobs open, so many candidates to be tossed around. We'll figure it all out a little bit at least after this. This is Hoist the Colors on a Monday.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. You get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors. Here it is segment 2 on a Monday, October 27th edition of the show. Philip Hilkinen producing. We also got intern Isaiah hanging out as well. And in case you missed it, we do have a TV and start time for homecoming. ECU hosting Charlotte. 3 o'clock kickoff on ESPN Plus will be the game time for that. All right, and it'll be 2 o'clock for Temple hosting ECU this weekend. Crazy weekend once again in college sports as we have another major head coach firing, arguably the top job on the market now. Brian Kelly out at LSU. I was compiling in the break the amount of coaching openings we already have in the industry to this point. LSU, obviously at the top of the list, Penn State, Florida, Virginia Tech, Arkansas, UCLA, Oklahoma State, Stanford, which has a 1-year interim coach, but will replace the coach after the year, Oregon State, Colorado State, UAB, and Kent State, as Philip is working on. We have a bit of an echo going on in the studio. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Let us know if you can. We're trying to figure it out. And then you also have jobs that are likely to open. I put question mark, and I may be missing a few here. NC State is a possibility, obviously, with Dave Doran struggling. Wisconsin, I think, is a foregone conclusion with Luke Fickell being unable to basically score a point. And trying to pass my mic here. Auburn with Hugh Freeze is a question mark for me. UNC with Bill Belichick. And Florida State with Norvell. I don't know what they're going to do there. So I just feel like, I don't know, like we've seen crazy years in the carousel, Philip, but this has got to be, like especially in the season, this is the most insane I've ever seen. And I think the month of December is going to just be incredible to follow. And we'll talk about maybe how it trickles down to the American or ECU, but I don't know if I've ever seen really anything like this.
I don't think I've ever seen like this on the surface. Now, let's go down from the surface. You have teams who are not historically great programs playing great football. Where does the poaching come from? historically these teams grab coaches that are Nick Saban's coordinators. Can't do that. Nick Saban's not coaching anymore. Or you do grab a guy who's bringing his team up through the ranks, who's got him at 10, maybe 12. The problem is now those teams that are 10, maybe 12 are in the college football playoff. Those teams that are 10, maybe 12 are putting $55 million into their roster, Texas Tech. So are the coaches at these other institutions who historically, yes, would have left, no doubt about it, to go to LSU, are they going to go to LSU? Are they going to go to Florida? Or does BYU's coach, does Texas Tech's coach, are they happy where they're at because they know they've got an NIL presence and they're currently having success? That's what's even making this crazier. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know. It's a weird year.
It is, because to go further off your point, I just feel like the candidates aren't really out there. I mean, you mentioned BYU. Like, there's not even really been any talk of Kalani Sitake because he's an alum. Clark Lee at Vanderbilt, he's an alum. They're spending money. The big one, it feels like, is maybe inevitable to move this offseason is Lane Kiffin. How does Lane Kiffin not eventually leave Ole Miss for Florida LSU? But it's also like we don't know how much Ole Miss is investing. And, I do think it's probably more realistic to win a natty at LSU or Florida versus making the playoff at Ole Miss. But it's like you said, man. I mean, this year, as of right now, we're looking at Indiana, Georgia Tech, and Vanderbilt probably making the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And, those are teams that struggle to make bowl games in years past. So it's all about money and resources now, and it's hard without knowing what every team is investing and spending, kind of what are the most attractive jobs. We know what they are historically, but, what is it? How does LSU really compare to Ole Miss now? Obviously LSU is probably the better job, but, what is Ole Miss spending and what is LSU spending? I don't know if we have the exact data.
No, well, and here's the other thing. Let's go hypothetical here. Ole Miss goes to the semifinals and they get beat. Next year they take a step back, they go 9-3 and they miss college football playoff. Lane Kiffin's not getting fired. You do that at LSU, you're gone. That's the other tough thing about this. And my dad and I were talking about this last night. We were talking about, are there going to be more college football dynasties now than there were before? And the reason being because teams are firing people at such a high rate. The only teams who can stop the big guys, who can stop Alabama and Ohio State right now, are Indiana, are Georgia Tech, are Texas Tech, are BYU. LSU's not a player because they fired their coach. They wanted to fire him at 5-1. And I'm not saying they should have fired him now. That's a whole segment as to whether or not he should have been fired. But at 5-1, they were calling for his head. He was top 10 in the country. The turnover is happening so quickly now. If you do hit, you're so far ahead of everybody else because everybody behind you is just going to keep recycling coaches. It's the same thing you're seeing with NFL teams who keep recycling coaches, like the Panthers, who can't stay successful. And then you got Pittsburgh with 6 Super Bowl rings, and nobody alive today can remember who the coach was prior to Chuck Noll. And that's what college football is turning into. So congratulations, Ohio State and Ryan Day. Everybody's going to keep flipping coaches. Day's going to be there for the next 30 years. You're going to win 25 of the next 30 national championships because you've got Ryan Day, and everybody else is going to keep changing coaches.
It is crazy, and I'm fascinated to see how it all breaks down. Looking at this one website, coacheshotseat.com. This ranks, Mike Norvell, number 1. Jonathan Smith of Michigan State, only in, year 2 there. He's very much on the hot seat. So, I mean, Luke Fickell, I feel like I guess there's a chance he could stay, but, I mean, they can't even score a point. And it also comes back to, man, we've talked about this, Philip. It's now the era of you got to pay the players, not the coaches. But yet it still seems like everybody's willing to buy out $40, $50 million contracts to get rid of these coaches. And, I get obviously it matters. Your coach matters. But I guess these people just have unlimited money to spend. If you're paying $53 million to buy out Brian Kelly at OSU, and now you got to go spend at least that much money on your next team, I mean, at least. Probably more than that. I don't know. It's just It's crazy, man. Belichick, do we think he survives? I'm hearing no, so I don't know. It's just, and if you're a team like NC State, which probably is going to move on from Dave Doran, whether retirement is the word, or fired, however they end up doing it.
Mutually agreed to part ways.
Yeah, like they're going to fall, like, I'm looking at this list, like 10th to 12th on the, if that high, on like the list of where their job ranks. So, like, who are they going to get that's any good?
I mean, I think they almost have to go over a guy who's had success at a decent level, but then maybe struggled at his current job, like a Luke Fickell kind of situation. I mean, is he going to go out there and make them national championship contenders? Probably not, but come on, you're NC State. Be happy with your 9 wins and go home and wait for basketball season. Oh, wait, you haven't been good there either lately. But I don't know, man. It is tough, and it makes it tough on those schools because you do become so far down the list, and it's all the more reason that schools like that are going to continue to struggle because their job that used to be, hey, man, this was the 3rd best job available is now the 10th best job available. So, like, what happens if, like, Sataki leaves? BYU. BYU is not the sexiest job. It's better than NC State, but it's not LSU. And do you land another guy like that? Probably not. I mean, your BYU, so you're going to be decent, but 7-5 is not what they want. So, I don't know, man.
He's had stability there, which is leading to
so much
success now.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I mean, heck, this dude lost his quarterback in July. And he's starting a true freshman. Look what he's doing. So, and I'm not trying to go on one example, but, yeah, it makes it really tough. And, he's not going to leave for a job like State. But could he leave for a job, again, like LSU? And then it makes these other jobs tougher and tougher. So now do you go to the Group of 5 school? Do you go to the FCS school? Or do you go to the guy who just got fired? That's the tough thing.
Robert Dedrick says $168.8 million spent so far this year to buy out fired coaches, and it's not even November yet. And Aaron wants to know who coaches Lane Kiffin. And Johnny Robertson saying Lane has a son that is a sophomore starting quarterback at Oxford High School. He has said that he wants to finish school in Mississippi, and he is pretty good. I don't know. I feel like the Lane train, I think he gets Ole Miss to the playoff, and then he bounces. But the other thing with the timing, like, these coaches need to be in place. I guess with the portal being pushed back a little bit, it's not as important. But still, if you're LSU, you don't want to wait till January to hire a coach. You want that coach in by early December. So
I know that's the tough thing, man. Like, I think if you're Lane, you should stay. You got the job security. You're top 5. Why not? Figure a way. Like, they're not going to win championship this year, not going to win one next year. But if you stay and you have that long stability, you could turn Ole Miss. There is the money there. Why can't you turn them into the next whoever? Especially when everybody else has got turnover with coaches. And then you wonder too, like, what's Texas A&M on this list? I mean, they're not a blue blood, so I would say Mike Elko is poachable. I know he's only been there 2 years. But
I just think they have unlimited money.
They do, but that's the thing. Yeah. But still, it's not a blue blood job. And I'm not saying maybe there's technically not a blue blood job open, but what happens if Shark leaves Texas? What happens if is LSU a higher job than A&M? I would say so.
There's going to be a big domino to fall somewhere, and it's going to create an even bigger trickle down effect. So there's kind of your early look at the coaching carousel. The one more thing before we get a break in because we're running a bit behind, but John Summerall, the American names, I feel like 2 or maybe even 3 of them at this point are going to get poached just because of the number of jobs. Summerall, Golish at South Florida, we'll see. I don't think anybody's going to hire Newberry, but I would look at him if I was a school. Obviously he's running the option, but I think he could do multiple things with his background. Yeah. But Silverfield at Memphis. So, like, for me, If I'm LSU, and they're not going to do it because they want the sexy name, but if John Summerall went to LSU, he's already won championships at Troy. He's on his way to doing it at Tulane. I think he would crush at LSU. I just don't see them going that direction. But I could see Summerall at a Virginia Tech or an Arkansas or somewhere like maybe even a Florida, depending on who they decide. So I don't know. I feel like Summerall is going to make the leap to one of these.
Well, and what I'm about to say probably doesn't carry as much weight as what it did 5 years ago, but he's already in that area of the country. He's got that connection with those high school coaches.
And Kentucky's his alma mater, so if that opens, obviously, is an obvious one. But, yeah, he fits that area. So we'll see, man. It's going to be a lot of It's going to be a lot of stuff to follow, but it makes it, I guess, fun and entertaining for us in the business of the media covering college football. And we'll see. Obviously, you got to have an assistant staff. We'll see how it affects ECU. And if Blake Harrell keeps winning, who knows what could happen there. I mean, he's done a good job at ECU already. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll recap the sports weekend on-field results. We'll look at some of the NFL, college football, the American as well. This is Hoist the Colors on a Monday.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Hoist the sail!
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahoy, me hearties!
Back to Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Monday. We have got a lot of discussion in the chat about coaches. We were talking about coaching carousel, which is always fun to follow. We didn't really talk about Brent Key at Georgia Tech. Somebody asked, does he leave? Aaron wants to know, does the Georgia Tech coach Brent Key stay? That would be a good poach. He's another guy similar to Lee and similar to Sataki, that he's an alum of the school he's at. And so I just don't know enough about Brent Key. I mean, all these guys have to be on a list, Philip, and then it's just a matter of, what does it take? Again, he's getting paid over $4 million already. And I guess if you have a chance to make $6 to $7 million, that's good. But if you're coaching your alma mater and you're leading Georgia Tech to a playoff potentially, and you're making $4 million, I mean, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, the Brett Key situation, I'm not saying what I'm about to say is true, but what it reminds me of on the surface, or what I could see it being, is a Cliff Godwin situation. Right? Like, where it's like, I'm going to take my alma mater to a place they've never been before, and that's my goal. We know Cliff could go to the SEC, could make more than we're paying him, And then, so I'm not saying Brett Keith's going to be that situation, but if he stays, that's probably why. And then again, it comes down, like I said, job stability. Like, hey, man, you back this up next year and you only win 8 games. Like, they're not going to have pitchforks and torches waiting outside your office in Atlanta. They are in Baton Rouge and they are in Gainesville.
Man, what a crazy industry college football is. Let's look back at some of the scores this past weekend. A&M beats LSU 49-25. Joe Sloan, by the way, a year ago at this time, LSU offensive coordinator then. He was fired today, I believe. At that time, he had Bryce Underwood committed. He was the leading candidate or one of them for the ECU job. And LSU was in position to make the college football playoff, and now a year later, done.
That's why you don't coach at LSU.
It's crazy, man. It's a crazy world. Bama beats South Carolina in a game they shouldn't have won, but won 29-22. Hey, Wisconsin scored a touchdown. They lose 21-7 to Oregon, but congrats to Luke Fickell's boys. Ole Miss, speaking of the lane train, they go into Oklahoma and win. Vandy continues to be just a great football team. They beat Missouri 17-10. Virginia beat North Carolina. Do you like going for 2, Phillip, in these situations? They go for 2, get stopped at like the half-yard line. Virginia, by the way, sorry to bring up multiple topics in one question, but Virginia, some of these wins are just by the skin of their teeth, man. I guess they're due for a season like this. They're now 7-1, but they win 17-16 in Chapel Hill. But do you like going for 2?
Well, first off, Stephen, I don't think some of these wins are by the skin of their teeth. For the last month and a half, all these wins have been, been by the skin of their teeth. I would like to talk to Coach Logan about this because, he mentions when you're the underdog, when you're not supposed to win the game, you do these kind of things. The tough thing is you're North Carolina at home with Bill Belichick as your head coach. However, the officials are ACC officials, and the only chance ACC has of getting 3 teams in the college football playoff is what some miracle where Virginia, Georgia Tech, and Miami all make it. And if Virginia loses that game, they don't make the college football playoff. So, with that being said, you're a little worried if you're Belichick to go into another overtime, but I still didn't love it. I don't like the game coming down to one play. That's why I hate the 2 points starting in the, and I get it at the end of the game, you get in situations, but hey, man, we win that, we hit this, we win, we don't, we lose on a 2-point conversion when you have the opportunity to stay alive. I've always been kind of conservative when it comes to the whole coaching thing. I say sometimes you just got to live to play another down.
And I typically am a fan of doing it on the road, unless you just have a play that you absolutely love. But I'm a huge fan. If you're the road underdog,
yeah,
you got a chance to walk it off and steal it. Basically, I'm a fan of it. At home, it just doesn't feel quite right.
It's a tough thing too, man. Maybe this was the spark, trying to be the spark they needed, but they just got to win games right now. They're not here to steal wins. They're not here to spoil anybody's party. They're just here to find a way to make a bowl game. And when you put yourself in that position, you put your chance to make a bowl game kind of all in one play. That's tough. And the other thing is, if the dude was stuck the ball out, he probably would have scored.
Yeah.
He just kind of went down like it was a routine tackle in the middle of the field.
Weird try there at the end of that play. Johnny's stats, of course he would have a stat for this, Phillip. He says,
let's do it.
Teams that go for 2 in overtime are 2-5 this year. So
okay.
I guess he means on that, game-winning situation. All right, a few other notable scores. Speaking of skin of their teeth, the Texas Longhorns beat Mississippi State. And by the way, we pushed on this pick.
We did push on
which
that.
is absolutely.
I'm tempted to get, because it was tied at the end of regulation. I'm tempted to give all 3 of us the win instead of the push.
I mean, I'm for it because Mississippi State had we're not the Vegas sports book, so we can do what we want. Mississippi State had no business losing this game, and Texas had no business winning this game. Just an absolute joke. I feel bad for Mississippi State, which is now giving away like 3 consecutive SEC games. And Texas has got to be the biggest fraud of a ranked team I've ever seen. I mean, should have lost to Kentucky, should have lost to Mississippi State. And now that I'm saying this, they'll probably bounce back and beat Vanderbilt this week just because that's what happens in college sports. But did you watch any of that game? Because it was 31-10, Mississippi State in the fourth quarter, and then they just quit learning, or they basically forgot to play football. I mean, it was bad.
Yeah, it was weird. It was one of those things where it was almost like, was it finally getting to their head, like, hey, we're going to win a conference game? Like, they know they're a good football team, or not a bad football team. They proved that in the out-of-conference. They've kind of been there and lost some games by the skin of their teeth, games that, maybe most people thought they had no business even being in, and now it's like, hey, this is finally going to happen, and they started getting excited and getting all giddy, and then just kind of forgot. I mean, look, Texas, are they fraud? Sure, but are they talented, and they're going to jump on you if you go out there and shoot yourselves in the foot? Absolutely. And that's what happened. And all they had to do was just kick a field goal in overtime and lose by 4, and then we all would have won instead of pushed jointly together. But,
Painful.
Great teams cover Mississippi State. What the hell are we doing? Why are you trying to win the game?
I did get Mississippi State live line 9.5, so I ended up getting some money that way. But
luckily, when I bet them later on Saturday morning, I had gone up to 7.5,
Okay.
so I was good.
There you go. Quick look around the American. We'll dive deeper into the American Tuesday or Wednesday. North Texas. Charlotte hung around for a little bit, and then they figured out Charlotte could not defend the pass. Mestamaker threw for 608 yards. That's insane. North Texas wins 54-20.
Dude, I was looking. I was not watching this game, but I was paying attention to whatever I was watching. Baseball.
I think it was Trey Savage.
Trey's pitch. Yeah. So the score was going across the bottom of the screen. I looked at my dad and I was like, "Yo, Charlotte's up 20-17 in the third quarter. They're probably going to lose, but they're going to actually keep this game respectable." I was like, "Man, if this gets really out of hand, let's drive over to Jerry Richards Stadium and watch 4 people rush the field. It'd be kind of funny." And then we look, and all of a sudden it's 38-20. We're like, "Oh, that didn't last long." And it ended up being I think they scored 30 some odd points in the second half.
37 points in the second half.
I mean, the last time a team did that, it was the Denver Broncos a whole 6 days before.
That was one quarter.
I know.
Yeah.
It's even more impressive when you guys did it.
Craziness in Charlotte. UConn lost to Rice. Good win for the Owls. They've improved to 4-4. Navy takes care of FAU by 10. They stay unbeaten. FAU scored a lot in that game as well, but came up short defensively. We talked about Temple, Tulsa. And then the big result, Memphis gets their quarterback back, Brendan Lewis. They beat South Florida 34-31. Speaking of scoring in the fourth quarter, they score 17 unanswered to beat USF. Grammatica had a chance to tie it, I think, with a 52-yard field goal. It went wide left. The snap was low. The hold was decent, but that just reopens the conference. And again, we'll get more into it, but now South Florida with a loss. They've got at Rice, Tulane, and this is Memphis with the loss. They have at Rice, Tulane, at East Carolina Navy, and then you have South Florida, which I believe has to play UTSA this week and then go to Navy. So a little bit more wide open at the top, but Navy and Tulane right now unbeaten in the league.
It's crazy, man. I'm just going to be honest. I did not have Navy on my radar at the beginning of the season, and I thought they were bad, but I had 3 teams, and they were not one of them. And here they are, chugging along.
I think a lot of it is, and I know we got to get a break in, but if ECU had Navy's schedule, they'd be 7-0 too. Look at who they beat.
Yeah.
VMI, UAB, Tulsa, Rice, Air Force, Temple, FAU. I mean, they have played nobody. Temple was the one decent team, and they should have lost.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But, as we talked about, at North Texas, at Notre Dame, South Florida, at Memphis, Army to conclude the year. So good luck to the midshipmen with that stretch. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap the show. We might talk about Trey Savage a little bit since we haven't had a chance to talk about that. Former Pirate ace throwing in the World Series. We'll discuss the World Series, maybe touch on some NFL if we have time. This is Hoist the Colors on a Monday.
Hurry to Greenville Toyota for model year-end savings on a Camry. Just $229 a month. $229 a month. Or new RAV4, $279 a month. $279 a month. Only during our model year-end move-out. Right now at Greenville Toyota.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
It's Greenville Toyota's model year-end move-out. Save on a new Corolla, just $149 a month. $149 a month. Or new Tacoma, $249 a month. $249 a month. Now get a move on and save.
Like all pirates, Stephen Igo is loyal and bold. He may also have a touch of scurvy. Back to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back again. Final segment here on a Monday. Tomorrow we'll have Kevin Monroe on. We're also scheduled to be joined by Ryan Wallen either Tuesday or Wednesday of this week from Al's Daily, the 24/7 Sports Temple site. We'll dive into the American as well and just look at the standings as we have throughout the year, kind of look at ECU's path to a potential title berth as well. All right, some quick baseball talk. The World Series is tied at 1-1. Dodgers and Blue Jays, obviously, Pirates are well represented in Canada with the Toronto Blue Jays pitching staff. Trey Savage started Game 1 and went 4 innings. Did his job, gave the team a chance to win, and then Toronto got red hot on offense. I think scored, 8-9 runs in 1 inning and 1 big there. And then Yamamoto in Game 2 for L.A., back-to-back complete games in the playoffs as they go back to L.A. Tonight, Game 3, it'll be Scherzer versus Glasnow, 1-1. But I thought overall, look, Trey Savage, I think it's pretty clear at this point he's pretty gassed. He's never worked anywhere close to this amount of innings in his life on the mound. And you can just kind of see it with his command, comes and goes. And I think they're asking a lot out of him. He didn't really have his splitter hardly at all. He struck out Ohtani on his splitter to begin the game. But right now his workload is at such a high level. I think it's just hard for him. 98 innings right now across all the levels in the regular season, now well over 100 for the postseason as well. I think it's probably weighing on him some, Phillip, and he's probably going to have to start another game in this series. I don't know what he can give them, but the main thing is he's giving them a chance to win every time out, which with their offense is kind of what they're asking for.
Yeah, that is all they need, and it's tough to be in that spot, in the playoffs. But it's what they've had to deal with injuries. There's two things that are happening with Trey. You mentioned one of them, the most innings he's ever thrown in a year. He's used to being shut down by July. The second thing is the rest, right? So for Major League Baseball players, 4 days rest is completely normal. For a 22-year-old, it's not. And if he's in the same situation next year, it'll be routine for him. He'll be completely ready for this. And it's not that he's not ready now, but I don't know if his body is 100% ready for this. He is mentally. He's got the skill set, but I just don't know if his body is completely ready for this. But hey, it's the hand the Blue Jays have been dealt. I think they're managing it well. Trey is, coming at this with a great attitude and is getting the best out of himself that I think that his body will go out there and put on the field. And this is what it is. And you hope that he can survive it and they can find a way to win it all.
Johnny Stats says Trey has struck out 27 so far in the playoffs. 24 of the strikes were whiffs. So I think he's saying that swing and miss versus 3 called strikes. And yeah, look, Hoffman pitched a little bit in game 2. The Jays were trailing. Didn't look extremely sharp, but we both said we think he's going to have to close out a tight game, maybe go multiple innings. 1-1 going back to L.A., do you think this goes back to Toronto? I don't think L.A. wins all 3. So I think it goes back 3-2 L.A. What do you think?
I originally did say this was only going 5, but with them getting the first game makes me feel better. Still, though, man, I think the horses that they're throwing out there on the mound are just going to be better. I don't think it goes back. I think this thing's over on Wednesday.
Yep. So I guess we would see Trey Savage in Game 5 in that case.
Yeah.
As it'll be Scherzer tonight, most likely. For Toronto, I guess they would go. Who's their number 4 starter?
It
was Scherzer.
Yeah.
And then they ended up going to Bieber in Game 3 at the CS. So maybe they go back to Shane Bieber for Game 4. All right, we're out of time. There's your baseball talk here to wrap up a Monday. Again, Game 3 tonight. We'll continue to follow it for the Pirates. Trey Savage and Jeff Hoffman, excuse me. All right, we've got Kevin Monroe tomorrow. We'll dive further into Temple as well, get further into the American as the week goes along, tell you how the Pirates can get back into the title mix, and a whole lot more. We'll see you at 12 noon on Tuesday. Thanks for listening.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Get a recap of this show at 90.